I'm Chris Murphy.
And I'm Jennifer Logan.
And we're the Community Theater Heroes.
We host a weekly podcast where we interview theater companies,
actors,
casting directors,
playwrights,
composers,
and other theater artists to give our listeners helpful advice, tips, and insight for their own careers.
And life in general, because we believe that live theater has the power to make the world a better place.
Hey, all you CT heroes out there. Welcome to episode 18 of our podcast. It is great to be back after a much-needed week off. We hope you guys didn't miss us too much. In this week's episode, we cap off our series of interviews with Missing Link Theater's cast and crew of Oleanna. This time we get to sit down with director Shannon Cluphf and Todd Thomas again, but this time he is wearing his producer hat. Oleanna opens this week at the Headwaters Theater in Portland, Oregon, and runs until July 28th. One of the really cool things that Missing Link Theater is doing is offering Wednesday night performances. Now, this is perfect for all of you actors and theater people that are too busy to go to shows on the weekend because you're in your own show. So make sure to check it out. Hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, welcome to the Community Theater Heroes. Well, theater. Either of those words, it doesn't even.
Are you really heroes, though?
I gave her direction to be awkward, and I think it's working.
Oh, thanks. I'm naturally awkward, I think. I think I'm naturally like,
Sorry.
I don't know how to social, please. Kick me out. Help me.
What do I do with my hands?
She's just doing this weird thing with her hands.
She keeps
like a
She keeps
crab.
strangling us?
Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Shannon, and welcome, Todd.
Welcome back, right?
Todd,
Welcome back, Todd.
Never leaves.
Welcome back, Carter. No. I just aged myself a lot.
No, I got you.
I was
I'm
just
with
like,
you.
what? Like,
Yeah.
We are here today with the director, Shannon, of Oleanna, and the artistic director, production person, producing.
He
We
is
covered
everything.
this. We've
God.
covered this already.
Autistic.
No.
He is
The
God.
artistic
Development
director. It's fine.
managing.
Just the artistic
You remember
director.
Todd
Specific.
from last week's episode
Of
his...
I'm always nervous about saying that because sometimes we release them out of
No,
order.
So this one could be aired first, and then
Welcome back, Todd.
welcome back. They're like, what are they talking about?
Who's Todd?
Who's Todd?
Todd.
I wanted to listen to the. Never mind.
He just come and like hijack their podcast. Like, hi, it's Todd.
To make all these references to things we talked about last
He's right
week.
down the street with the mic.
They'll never catch me.
Thomas, bring it back!
It's a
The
shrubbery.
gingerbread man.
Call him Thomas a lot. Thomas Stein. Thomas.
Thomas.
She calls me Thomas.
Do you?
I do it, but it's a last name
Thomas.
thing.
It's when he's in trouble.
That makes me feel like you're a PE teacher.
Ooh, even
Thomas.
better.
PE teachers always call all the kids by their last names. Hey, you, Jameson.
Yeah.
That's me with the
I like
drink.
that.
What's your
Anyway. Marshall.
I was gonna say
Of
Mark.
course it is.
Todd Marshall Thomas.
Almost out of
It's not.
TNT, not TNT.
Yeah.
So I said almost out.
But you could throw an N in there, and then I'm Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, that's good too.
Is it good?
Shannon,
Is
what's your
it?
last name? I didn't.
Cluphf.
Cluphf?
It's such a fun one.
Can you spell that?
CLUPHF.
PH.
Yes, it's redundant.
I love that.
Cluff.
It's like a sound. It's like a comic book sound.
It really is.
Cluff, 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 cluff.
What's that?
Cluffing.
I'm married into it.
Onomatopoeia.
I'm married into it. Wasn't a smart
Married
choice. Cluff.
The Cluffs are a proud people.
From the Scots.
I come from the low line of Cluffs.
I do not. I'm Irish. I don't.
I'm not married.
It's horrible.
We're so excited to have you on the podcast and Todd.
And Todd.
I guess.
Well, thank you for having me
I guess
and Todd.
We're here with Todd again.
They only invited me for the coffee.
Yeah, he's got this coffee process, and it takes about 6 years to
Yeah,
brew.
years.
somewhere around 6 years.
Yeah.
At least 5.5.
It is good coffee, though. Yeah, my son will be graduating
I know.
high school by the time
Yeah.
this.
By the time you
Oh,
get
maybe
your
we
next
could celebrate
cup
it
of
with a cup of coffee finally.
Maybe.
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 It's-
Anyway, so I just want to jump right in, just because.
Now we're jumping in.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get right to business.
Famous last words.
Right before we ended the last podcast, if you've been listening, they were talking about how Mamet bans this talk back after Oleanna.
Yes.
And
yes.
Can we talk about that for a little bit? What
Yes.
do you have thoughts on that?
I kind of feel like I have like this person, because a director, you like get so immersed in script, like you almost feel like you know the writer, and so I've stopped calling him Mamet and I've started calling him David. Like, I'll be like, oh my god, David.
Oh, David.
and like, damn it, David. And then when he told me, he was like, yeah, we can't do talkbacks. I'm like, oh, David, I gotta talk to you. Like, I need to call David.
I sent him an email.
Yeah. But, no, we're not allowed to do... What is the exact rule? You know the exact rule.
Yeah, no, and so there is in the license, and I believe it was recently introduced, I think 2015. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong. Could be Facebooking that information.
So trust the internet, it's fine.
Right, trust the internet. No. On the licensing fee, it basically says that within a 2-hour window following any production, you are not allowed to meet and discuss the play, either on the site or anywhere else. It's just, and
why do you think that is?
There's some theories. Obviously, we don't know. We know that David Mamet can be an asshat sometimes. So
you heard it here.
Right. I'll say it.
I'll tag him in it. Hey, Mamet.
There's lots of people that I would not like to hang out with that do amazing things with their life. And I can't. I'll take the good with the bad, if that's what it takes.
That's why we're friends.
Right? See? Aww. That was a precious moment. Can we edit that out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
You can't have precious moments on this podcast.
Yeah, I've got
absolutely not.
Good.
I'll edit in post.
On both. So, but yeah, I think it's the popular opinion is that he wants the work to stand on its own, so that people you don't judge his work through the filter of whatever production company is doing it. That you take away your own interpretation, and I can really respect that. I kind of, it's disappointing because it's such a relevant topic that I think it could segue into other, a great discussion about other larger themes, if we were to talk about it. And from a marketing standpoint, it would be great, but at the same, I think it's a shame, but I understand.
I kind of get what he was thinking, and at the time, but like you said, it's such a topic of discussion now with the Me Too movement and everything else that's going on in our world. It's disappointing that we can't do it. I am excited though for people to walk away and kind of think on their own and go, I wonder, okay, and put the pieces together for themselves, and maybe go home and talk about it with whoever they go see it with.
What are those conversations that you've had? Because I'm sure as that director, you take it home to your partner, or what are some of those things? I'm really.
It's kind of funny. I have 2 girls at home. I have a 7-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I find myself going home and being like, "Don't let any man talk to you like this ever." And my 7-year-old's like, I just want to play with crayons.
If Tim asks for your red crayon,
exactly. Yeah,
and
you
he
tell him no.
demands it from you.
Yeah. You tell him no.
Find your voice.
Yeah, so like that.
Listen, Timmy, sick of your shit.
My husband's like, you're gonna ruin our children. Just keep doing plays, you'll just ruin them. It's fine.
Or make them better.
Or make them better.
Develop them into sharp instruments of war.
That's what my mind does.
Jennifer's eyes are steely.
I don't. It's all the coffee. It's all the coffee.
It's good coffee.
It's good coffee.
I've been waiting 6 years.
It's waiting 6 years. It's so.
I got pregnant when this coffee was brewed.
She got married.
Wait a minute, what's in the coffee?
Wow.
I'm not drinking it now.
It's pregnant coffee. Pregnant with flavor.
Yeah, I go home. I do talk to my husband, too, about, I think when you go into a rehearsal space that's so just 2 characters, a director, your SM. Normally, when you have a larger cast, there's a more relaxed attitude, even if it is a serious play. They can kind of have each other to joke off of or whatever on the side. But in a play like this where you have 2 people and then 2 people on the other side of a desk, you walk into this rehearsal space and it's like, whew,
It's intimate.
we're doing Mamet. All right, we're going to do this now. And so we try to find the balance of where we can say, okay, we need to take a break from Mamet and just kind of be ourselves right now.
Yeah, no, that's another question too I was gonna have, because I'm such an extrovert. Surprise. But
That's weird. That's weird. I wouldn't think that about you.
I know.
Okay.
But like as an extrovert, one of those really great things like the Hitchhiker's show and all these other shows that have been running into people, it's when you have this big cast, you develop this network and you have this sense of community. Is that still a part of a 2-person show, or is it a little bit different?
I would say that it's closer.
The relationship?
The relationships that the actors have together, and then the relationship that the director and then the actors have together, and then the production team on the side. I think everybody's so invested in the show that we've developed a good rapport amongst ourselves, and
that must be really cool. I've never had the opportunity
neither.
to experience a small, tight-knit cast like that.
No.
yeah.
Before.
The I mean, with like with Hitchhikers, right? You have what, 13 people?
We had, like 13.
14.
No, I think 13.
13.
Okay, so you have a teenager worth of cast members. What? Anyway, I don't know. So in the teens, whatever. You had a lot of people, but you distribute that effort, the weight of the production among all of them, and they feel. But it many hands make light work, right? And that makes that frees you up to have more fun. Right, to just enjoy each other's company and to have those light friendships. You put the weight of an entire show on 2 people. Mm-hmm. It can be wearisome. It can be very stressful, but the relationship that those 2 people have is not going to be fleeting.
No.
By the end of the production, I mean, I know stuff about Caitlin that I never would have probably known about her had I not worked in this show with her. And I'm gonna remember that for a long time. Whereas the people from Hitchhikers, I mean, they could be dead in a ditch somewhere. I'm kidding.
Then why is that funny?
Yeah, especially you, Jay. No.
That shouldn't be funny, but it is.
Betrayals.
I had so much fun doing Hitchhikers. That was such a blast. Thank you so much again for doing that.
Great.
That was so much fun.
Todd played our Ford prefect in case.
Oh, we produced a show.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we've ever said this.
Yeah, we didn't. I don't think we've told anyone.
We haven't said. We didn't want to.
You didn't plug your own show.
We didn't. We were like,
Sarah.
That's so lame.
It wasn't official yet. They hadn't announced me. Don't look at me.
I know.
I'm
She'll
okay.
get us next time.
Now you know.
Okay, you can look.
Thank you.
A good production manager would have known.
Yeah, let's blame Sarah. I think really it's Sarah's fault.
Yes.
Anyway, but that's such an interesting dynamic because you have this opportunity, you have this time, you have this attention and this focus to really dive into it. So it seems like a completely different, developmental process.
I think that it's been an insane learning experience for myself. Not only I come from an acting background, and so I could totally see everything from the actor's point of view when they're trying to get into script and everything. And then I'm taking on the director role where I'm like, okay, I'm getting where they're coming from and I'm getting their struggle, because that's what I would be. I would be there. I would be very inside my head about it. But they're doing an insanely good job of being able to give good quality work at every rehearsal. Mm-hmm. It's not like they come in there and they're like, I don't know what to do or where to go with this. I'm not understanding this. I've never ever had to sit down. We've sat down and we've talked about the script, but I've never had to be like, you're doing this wrong.
Now, as a woman director, do you find yourself picking one side more than the other in the script? And you don't have to tell us which side it is, but do you find yourself kind of...
I think I can understand both sides of it.
I think we've already covered this during rehearsals. So it's, because we're friends, I think I know where you, because you're not. We're when you get to a certain age, I think you have more exposure to life, and especially. And I'm totally just hijacked the question for you.
Go for it.
As a man hijacking this
question. Right, a total man thing
He's
to do.
He's really into character right now.
Do you see?
Do you see? That's in the play 500 times, FYI. Do you see? I do not see.
I want to get a shirt that just says "Do you see?" on it, like "Got milk," but with "Do you see?" Anyway,
Line.
but we also, because we're older, that means we came from a generation that didn't have the internet, that didn't have, the world is now connected. So that means that we're exposed to all the different opinions and, aware that some people are offended by things that we weren't aware of before. Right. And as we've grown and evolved, at least some of us, as people, as a civilization, as we become more aware of the sensitive, that we've become more sensitive about our fellow human beings, that's great. And if you evolve, and that's amazing. But it wasn't always that way.
No.
We both, and you were in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were in the Navy, and that's
historically a very nurturing place.
Right.
I think I don't have, I came out of that without having that sensitive bone, and so when I came back into the civilian world after the Navy, I'm like, wait, what? Why is everybody freaking out about this? Why is everybody, why is this such a big controversial thing? And it took me a while to be like, oh, this is wrong. Oh, this is wrong. Okay, yeah, you're right. We need to change
it was
conversation.
Normalized before, it was normalized for you.
Oh, absolutely.
In that experience.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I was, not to plug my military experience or anything or get off topic, but I was like...
You? This is the
topic. To plug my military experience. But
I was a second-class petty officer. No, I was one girl of 200 guys in my division. Oh, and so I was surrounded by that testosterone for 10 months, out to sea, nobody else around, not pulling into land, just in that environment.
And how long ago was this?
Oh God, that was from 2001 to 2005.
This was a different.
This was a different time. Yeah, this was a different time.
Was it a ship? Was it a submarine?
It was a ship. Yeah, I was on a ship. I'm on land a couple of times, but yeah.
Did you have your own? Was this post G.I. Jane?
Oh yeah.
Did you have your own quarters? Or?
No, I wish there was 80 girls in a big room, and you get a rack. It's like the size of this couch, which is 3 by 7, I think it is.
Nice.
Were you involved in theater before you were in that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've been involved in theater since I was 5 years old.
Did it feel different when you left the military? Did that influence, your perspective on theater at all?
I think that it made me want to come back even more. I feel like a lot of the military made me lose my sensitivity. And theater is such a community. And your friends, every outside of shows and everything, it's not like a regular job where you go and you do the work and you go home. You have a community to rely on in theater, and I definitely wanted to return to that.
Oh yeah. It's a really beautiful thing, and Portland specifically. I know everywhere there's going to be a different take on in all these different communities, but myself, I found Portland to be a really artistically supportive area.
Oh yeah.
This whole group of theater people will go and support the other artists, and half of our audience, I would say, on a whole in Portland, is other actors and artists.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a team effort, for sure.
Very supportive. It's not like New York, in LA and all that.
Yeah, and to be sure, there are some pockets of that everywhere.
For sure, yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, I don't think I've met a single person, just to be very transparent and candid, I haven't run into people in Portland that I have not enjoyed. I haven't, you know what I mean? I haven't met someone that I'm like, ugh.
How long have you been? Oh, wait. You
2 years. 2 years,
Where do you live?
Talk to me when okay.
Jen lives in Vancouver, Washington. For the next week only.
For the next week only. I'm gonna be
and then you'll be homeless.
I'm gonna be an over the bridger.
Oh,
I'm coming
welcome.
Oh my
Northeast.
God.
Ooh.
Schwanky.
I know. I'm renting out a basement. This isn't about me. Anyway. I'm sorry.
I was very interested in what
you hijacked your own question?
As a woman hijacking your question.
Let's get back more into Oleanna.
Oh, sure.
So, what has Todd had told us in our last episode that you were originally slated to direct another production during the season, and then he asked you to direct Oleanna.
Yeah.
Did you want to take it on at first? Had you heard of the show?
It's funny. I've heard. Yes. I mean, I don't think there's a David Mamet show I haven't heard of, because he's such an incredibly famous playwright. But I specifically knew, like, he called me and he was like, "What do you think about this?" And I was like, "Meh." I don't want to. And he was like, no, read it, just read it. And I was like, I don't want to. And there was like a lot of talk over the phone where he was like, no, you need to try this. And finally I was like, I'm going to my room, I'm going to read it by myself. You know, like, thanks, Dad. And I read it and I called him back and I was like, all right, you were right. And I was like, okay, you're right. We need to do this show.
I think it's great too that you made that judgment call, as a team. Like, I want, instead of an assistant director, to add a female perspective. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and slot a female director in the, in that lead position, especially with this particular piece and subject matter. I think it's wise. Right. I think it's wise, especially someone who has this experience in your background of all this like testosterone filled kind of atmosphere, so you have a really unique perspective.
I draw from that a lot when I'm directing.
That's great.
I draw a lot from, and like I said, I could see both points of views. I think that background and seeing that whole testosterone infused environment has been able to give me a good view on not villainizing either character 100%.
Yeah, not judging
I don't.
them, for sure.
Yeah, and being able to see it from both perspectives, and I hope that's like comes out. If I'm doing my job right, then that's what will come out. Yeah.
There was a little bit of controversy surrounding your selection of this play, like within the Portland community. Why don't we talk about that a little bit? Like, have you had a backlash from anyone in the
You don't have to give specific names.
Right. No, I think historically this play has always had that, at least with someone. It's going to be, I think as long as people look at it for what it is, it's a play. I mean, it's only a play.
It's
only a play, right? Plugging that. Too late now. Thanks.
Limited run.
It's only a play, I think, a month ago.
Yeah, and she was fabulous. Miss Butter? Mrs. Butter.
Mrs.
Butter, because you were talking to your husband on the phone. Yeah. All right. So back to the question. What was that? No.
As Julia Butter hijacking this, I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, now I've lost track.
The train of thought.
Controversy.
Thank you.
Sarah, the production manager.
You're saving the day.
Controversy.
So we you're gonna get that with that subject matter, right? I literally had a bunch of people from the community, the theater community. I've spoken to them about it. A lot of people that know the play, they love it. I mean, they're just huge fans of it because it's intense. The dialogue is fantastic. The ideas contained in it are just amazing, and it's so relevant and it's so relatable. Do I want to hang out? Do I want to have drinks with David Mamet? No, I don't want to, because it kind of makes me a little sick. But
I bet you he karaoke's.
We had someone make a comment about the show, and I invited them to come see it, and they already had some preconceived notions about it, and I was a little flabbergasted, but realized that there's no way you can fight those sort of prejudices, against something, and I think it's important, my opinion, and not to say that anybody else's is invalid on this, is it's art, and you need to experience it. It's out there because it came out of us. I mean, it's part of being human, and that to deny seeing something because it makes you uncomfortable is really just, I mean, that's stunting your own growth. And it's really important that we continue to try and be better people all the time. And how are you going to do that if you're afraid or you're angry at something that just challenges you?
One of the things that theater does is it's a voice. And that's one of the main things that I've always loved about theater. and doing shows such as Oleanna is it's a voice. It's a voice that says, look, this is something that happens. This is something that's real. And we're putting it out there to bring attention to it. And maybe people that come and see the show can learn something from it.
Absolutely.
And bring it back into the community and say that, you know, this is
a
this
catalyst.
Is what
For
exactly.
conversation.
This is what's
And,
happening.
You know, I mean, I think that what is that thing like? The definition of art is to provoke an emotion, right?
Emotion.
And it seems like wherever this particular production lands, it's a strong emotion one way or the other. And it's a great catalyst. It's a great springboard to say, hey, here's this topic. Here's this subject matter. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You know? And
Let's
you walk
talk
away
about
with
it.
it like,
A lot of people, with any kind of verbal, mental, physical abuse, walk away and they turn the other cheek. And I think that isn't exactly how we're going to solve anything. We need to be involved, and this is one, like you said, catalyst. Theater, art, this show is a way of putting that out there and saying, let's talk about this subject matter.
it's a really great political kind of position to have right now in this climate as well, where so many people are using their art as a way to politically resist either, you know, and make these statements. And so it's really great that it seems like, at least from my impression thus far, Missing Link is taking the opportunity to kind of be like, oh, this is how we are channeling our resistance, and this is how we kind of funnel in our beliefs.
It's like when Todd and I were talking about doing the show, and he had said, no, you know what, with the way the times are right now, this is a show that we need to do, and this is a show that we could do well, so why don't we do it? And like I said, after reading it, I was like, you're right, we can do this well, and I think that we need to put it out there, especially in the Portland area, a place that's so open and so open-minded and ready to take on the problems that are politically and socially at hand.
Absolutely.
What are some of the challenges the production has faced so far, if any?
Challenges?
Directing it, have you had any issues or...
Everything is perfect. I don't know what you're talking about. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the production. I think that... difficulties.
Would you like me to...
Sure, I'm just going to look at the ceiling.
The really big obvious one. Neither of us are completely off book yet. After, having weeks of rehearsals, and we have, bypassed more than one off book date that we had set. Mind you, we're still finding our footing on proper scheduling of, say, I don't know, being off book for a 2-person show versus a 6-person show or whatever, and, you get a bunch of cooks in the kitchen who maybe just aren't used to that, and that's what happens. But the dialogue in this particular script is, in my opinion, at least from my experience, is the most challenging that I've ever come across to memorize, because it's not...
It's disjointed a bit.
It is very disjointed. I mean, you will get that from the very first. The show opens with a phone conversation, which I don't know.
I hate that.
Phone conversations are hard to do, and I have John has 4 or 5 of them in the show.
He's got 4.
And it's just like there's and it's just like hello, yes, I know, but it's can you. I mean, that's the dialogue written on the page, and it's so hard to stick because it doesn't flow at all in your brain. It's not the way you want to produce a sentence.
One of the things that the actors have learned is they don't just have to memorize their lines; they have to memorize the other person's lines.
Yeah,
they have to memorize this
Carol's
whole script. It's not easy. It is not an easy thing to do.
So what's the practical approach for that? How are you guys tackling it?
Right now,
we talked about it a little bit in the previous podcast, but is there any game, like, where is that?
The game plan that I had, so whenever you do a production, when you're a director and you come across a problem, no matter what the problem is, you will always come across something. No matter what the problem is, you have to look at it and you say, okay, here's the problem. This is what we need to do to solve it. And that's what we're going to do. So the plan that we came up with was to do an all-day workshop of lines and script and blocking. So that's something that we're doing today, where we're just going to take 8 hours and just run lines until, until we beat them into the ground. And never want to do the show, right?
Be so sick of it.
And that's,
We're also as from an acting standpoint, Shannon and Donovan, who's the stage manager for the show, have been very supportive and very helpful, like meeting up with us one-on-one when one of us is not available to help each other out, and they'll come over and run lines with us. Because it's tough to do it by yourself sometimes, especially when it's like, Ev, you, but I, and those are tough to like, and then you memorize the order, but you can't just memorize the order of the like little tiny partials, because if the other person somehow slips up, then yours don't make any sense, or it's off kilter. Like
every line
we have to be so in sync. Wow. And it's really difficult. It's very challenging. I love it, but it's stressful. It's very stressful.
Yeah, you've been in productions where you've skipped a line or somebody else has skipped a line. You're like, it's okay. We can just go on to this next part. With this play, you can't miss a line. You can't. Like, I've looked and stressed over it and read it over and over. I'm like, they can't miss a line. Wow. There's no place in here where they can miss it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
A lot of pressure.
May I ask, what did you see in Caitlin that you were like, she's Carol? What was it?
A vulnerability. I think there's something that happens as we get older, especially and I've got two girls in here that I don't know. I'm 30. How old am I?
You're a jaded
35?
ex-military female.
Yeah, I'm jaded.
With two kids.
I've got the smoker's cough, and I'm like, yeah, life. What? But you kind of lose that little glow in that childhood glow in your eye.
Lose the innocence.
You have kids, and then you're like, smoke my cigarettes and be like, life, I hate you all. Go clean your room. Like it's that's my life. What am I doing?
You shove that to your 1-year-old, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go clean your room. Crawl your butt up those stairs.
Get up there and clean your room.
Somehow, like, someone always brings up kids, and then I just say, Amanda keeps saying, all right, a couple years, we gotta have a kid. Like, that's the schedule, and it stresses me out.
Yeah, man.
We just got married.
Don't do it.
Don't do that.
Run.
I can't.
Listen to me.
I hear you can buy them.
I hear you can buy them
at certain ages, depending on what you want to do with.
All right, Republican Jew comment.
Yeah.
Just not buy the children to. Can we just put a cap to
You
how
want to
many
buy my
times
kids? You can buy my
this
kids.
episode
What
is
is
gonna be
adoption
recorded?
but buying a child?
What is adoption?
Oh
I just don't. Is there like an Uber
There's
service?
no
Can we
emotional
rent
connection
one?
at
Can
all.
we rent a kid?
Can you?
I'll tell you right now,
Bastard.
Portland community, you want to rent a kid. I got a little ginger. That is great. That is
Right?
great. Bring him to parties.
He's fantastic. Rent out my kid. I would totally that gives me a free day.
Like Uber.
We'll edit this out later.
Oh yeah.
No, we won't. I'm monetizing
You're
this.
right, because I can't. Okay?
Because I
I don't have the ability.
Secrets out.
No.
What was
Don't
the
have
question?
The challenge,
1-year-olds.
why you had chosen Caitlin.
That's
Yes.
right.
Oh.
Vulnerability.
I chose her. Okay, so we had a lot of auditionees, which were fantastic, and it was very nice to sit here and see a very diverse community of women come out to audition for a show like this. And there was much excitement behind it, and almost everybody that came in, had some sort of excitement about this show. A lot of times when you're an actor and you look at a show and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go audition for that. Walk in there, you're like, hi, I'm so-and-so and I'm auditioning for this part. And then you audition, you walk out, and that's the end of it. But every girl that walked in there was like, hello, my name is, and just very upfront.
They were excited.
I think that they, at least from my knowledge, there was at least 3 or 4 of them that had personal experiences that they expressed that, like this, they related to, the play in some way, that's some personal experience to them. And I was like, oh man, this is, thank goodness we're doing this, because, and they want to do it because they want to tackle it. And it's going to be, I hate to say, cathartic or what have you, but I think, because it's a dangerous place when you get into acting, and then it's a 2-person show. It's very intense, and the dialogue, and there's that subject matter, and how is that person going to handle it? I mean, it's been very stressful for both Caitlin and I, especially when you relate on when I relate to John, and there are things that I don't like you know, it's eye-opening for me. You know, do I say these things? Do I, you know, is that my opinion on it? Or do I, you know, do I take my straight white male privilege, you know, for granted? Or am I doing everything I can to be an ally to those people who are not?
Right.
You know, so it's good for me, but it's also like, you know, it's depressing, you know, when you identify with someone who, you know.
Caitlin walked in, when she walked into audition, she was the one that you looked at her and you were like, I could pick her up and put her in my pocket.
Yeah.
You know, she's just adorable, and she looks like somebody that, you know, not to like say every man would do this by any means, but if a man were to look in a room and be like, I'm going to take advantage of someone, he'd look over and see Caitlin, that's the person I'm going to go to, because she just has that cute, small vulnerability, innocence.
She
about
has
her.
an innocence
Absolutely.
to her.
Absolutely.
Which is all bullshit.
Yeah, no, she's totally like this tough, like, yeah, whatever, you know, like she really is.
But she has that quality to her.
She has
that,
a quality
you know,
to her that she can.
And we've really beaten her up a lot, so we were like, you know, with a stick.
It's a shame we're running out of time, but are there a couple things you want to leave with us about the show, about your process? Any advice you have to people tackling heavy subject matter like this?
I think that my advice would be is take it act by act. If you're handling such a large subject matter that we like, what we are doing is take it slow, take it act by act, work the process, work through it with your actors. Don't just leave them in the dust to go off and learn the subject matter by themselves and then come back and expect them to have this grasp on it. It's something that needs to be talked about, and if you're producing a show like this, then you need to talk about it with your actors. I guess come see the show. That would be my only thing that I would come see it. Make your own mind up. Yeah. That's it. That's all I got.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Thank you, Todd. We're so excited.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it.
This is going to be a great show. It's at the
Good.
Headwaters Theater.
I saw your show.
Yeah.
It's only fair.
Right?
That's the contract.
Reciprocity.
They have to see it.
That's right.
All right.
We're
Thank
a
you guys
community.
so much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Bye.
And that's our show. Thank you so much for listening. We also want to give a big thanks to Shannon and Todd for taking the time to let us interview them during their busy rehearsal schedule. Make sure to check out Oleanna at the Headwaters Theater this month. You can get tickets by going to missinglinktheater.com. That is theater with an R-E. Or you can search Oleanna at thelittleboxoffice.com. Stay tuned for next week's interview with the amazingly talented Siobhan O'Loughlin, the creator of the one-woman show Broken Bone Bathtub. Guys, she literally performs her show while taking a bath in people's private homes. I was lucky enough to catch her show as her tour stopped through Portland, and it is one of the most crazy and inspiring things I have ever seen. So we're so stoked to share her interview with you guys. To find out more info about us, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter at communitytheaterheroes.com and by connecting with us on Facebook or Instagram. And if you like what we're doing, we hope that you do, please give us a positive rating on iTunes and Facebook. That's it from us. See you guys next time.